70 odd different genders. I don't know how they reach so far. I only know about two. Okay, all right. I guess I'm not the slow student here. But how did you end up gravitating towards doing free elective courses in gender studies? Do you have a goal behind that? Do you have a mission behind that? Or what other reason might there be?
Yeah, so gender studies is actually very broad, right? A lot of persons, when they hear gender studies, they immediately think about a particular vulnerable group or minor
Vulnerable in
group.
quotes, by the way, guys. He just did an air
Yeah,
quotes.
I did that in quotes unapologetically, right? However, gender is very broad. When you talk about gender studies, you talk about unattached youths, you talk about women who are at risk, you talk about children who are at risk, you talk about certain policies that may not be framed properly to give women a certain sense of security. You're talking about gender in the case of young men who are being disenfranchised by whatever reason. You see a lot of young men in Jamaica wiping the car windows. So what gender studies does, it also teaches you about the unfortunate situations in society and possibly how we can address them. So if you are doing gender studies and you don't want to advocate for certain groups or organizations, then it's up to you. As again, the discipline is very broad. Under gender studies, you can touch on things like food insecurity. You can talk about things like gender violence. Right? I know so gender violence and domestic violence is a big thing in the Caribbean, in Jamaica. When you talk about gender studies, you're talking about why most Jamaican homes, you only have the mother being the present parent and the mother being the only one to take care of the children. So gender studies talk about sex and power behind sex, and that has also opened my eyes to why is it even more important for us to stay away from sexual activity if that is not ordained by God. If we're not married, you must stay away from these things, because when you get involved with these people, there is a power and a spiritual connection behind it. So a
Mm.
lot of things, when you learn them and it's taught, even though it's not a church setting, you hear a lot of things, you learn a lot of things, you realize that there's a lot of policies as well being framed. And if I don't know about what the enemy is trying to do, then how can I fight against it?